What do a shark, a pirate, and a table have in common? Drumroll, they can all swim! Yeah, well, except the table, obviously. However, it should be observed that the table, even if it can't swim, can already float, which is not that bad, we have to admit it. And yeah, of course, the table has to be made of wood because a stone table will not float, as you can guess. Hey people, it's Swan. We are back for our third devlog in which we're going to discover the new ocean I use in the game. We're going to see the buoyancy system I created to make all the floatable objects in the game float. And finally, we'll see the swimming system created by Invector, once again, that allows the character to swim in the new ocean. But first of all, I want to wish you all a very happy new year 2021. Lots of beautiful things, great projects, good health, especially in these COVID times. As I speak, we are on the 7th of January, so it's been a while since the last devlog, sorry for that, I'm a bit late on this point, but the game has well progressed, those who are on the Discord know it. So lots of new devlogs to come in 2021 I hope, and now let's talk about the ocean. Perceptive as you are, you must have noticed that we are in a pirate game, and any self-respecting pirate must know how to swim and sail a boat, right? And to do all that, you need an ocean. Okay, so the one we have here is the ocean that comes with the Invector Studio pirate environment in which a character evolves, and as you can see, the ocean is nice, but it doesn't move at all, and oh, Jesus, you can walk on it. So, before addressing all the buoyancy, sailing and swimming systems, I tried to change the visual aspect of this ocean. And that's where the incredible asset called Poseidon comes in, and allowed me to go from this ocean to this ocean. So, this Poseidon asset is simply monstrous. Not only it is super beautiful, but it's extremely complete, extremely light and performant, and it even works in editor mode, which is so useful for game development. So, the editor mode means that you can directly see how it will evolve in the scene without having to literally launch the game. So here's the game windows, and I don't need to click on play to see how the ocean evolved. Poseidon also works in real time, so when we move the light, we have really beautiful effects like this. And inside, we have many settings to change the colors, to change the effects with the light of the game. There is a lot of things, a whole system of waves that we can customize, the way the little tiles will move in a random way. Really, it's super complete, and it allows us to make very varied oceans. Okay, so here we have a small bug. The reflections of the clouds disappear when we move the camera. It's a bug I managed to solve and which came back, so I have to deal with it. But in any case, compared to the previous ocean, it's clearly the day and the night. It's already gorgeous. So, the studio behind this Poseidon asset is called Pinwheel Studio. It's a one-man studio that publishes content on the Unity Asset Store, and all the assets he publishes are really great. They are very beautiful, super complete, very powerful, and the best thing is that they are regularly updated and bring new features. So, for example, Poseidon allows you to make oceans, but it also allows you to make waterfall, rivers, etc. And another very nice thing with Pinwheel Studio is that he's connected every single day on Discord. You can ask him questions, you can ask him future features, he's really reactive. So for example, I had a question for my buoyancy system, but maybe it will be easier to explain with a little diagram. Okay, so let's take this balloon, which represents the object that is supposed to float. And let's take the blue line, which represents the water level. Since we have a guy called Newton who has been smashed on the head by an apple, we are at what is called the gravity force, which says that all objects have a force that is directed downwards, towards the center of the earth, and so our balloon falls and it goes into the water. But once the balloon is in the water, we have another guy called Archimedes, which gives us the Archimedean force. And this Archimedean force means that when an object is surrounded by a fluid, so here the water, the deeper it is, the more pressure there will be on the object, and this pressure will exert a force which goes upwards, and so the balloon goes up. Then the balloon emerges from the water, and gravity takes over again, and the balloon goes back down. And again, the balloon goes up and down, and with frictional forces, the balloon ends up stabilizing on the water level. The thing is that we have waves, so the water level goes up and down. So let's take waves, and now the balloon is always above or below the water level. That way, the balloon will follow the waves like this, but it will always have a slight offset, which means that the balloon will also slightly oscillate on the waves. And this is the floating system that I tried to reproduce in the game. So with a C# script, it's quite easy to apply a gravity force and an Archimedean force on an object. The only thing is that I was missing the wave height parameter. I needed to know the height of the wave at any point of the space, and we saw that the ocean, Poseidon, never stops moving with little tides that moves in all directions. So that was my question to Pinwheel Studio, how to have the height of the wave at any point in space. So I sent a message to the Pinwheel Studio's developer on Discord, and in less than 2 hours he answered me, hey, use this script, it will model the mathematical formula behind the wave generation, you should be able to find the height of the waves in any point of the space. And he sent me a script to add to the Poseidon asset. So I took his script, I implemented the physics logic that I just presented to you, and it gave me a buoyancy script that works really well. Back in the game, I took all the objects that need to be able to float, all the wooden objects like the boat and all these little items, and I put some floaters on them. So there's one or more floaters when you need to float a boat, for example, and this is the final result. It works really well, the objects fall with gravity, and once in the water, they rise to the surface. I also add viscosity parameters to make it a bit more realistic, so yeah, it works well. We have the physics that reacts with the buoyancy, so the object can collide with another, that's great. I spent a lot of hours to set up everything so that each object floats in a coherent way, because of course each object has a different mass and so on. Concerning the boats, I really like the result. You can see them slightly oscillate on the waves, it's very satisfying, and everything is adjustable if I want to have more or less heel, for example. So my buoyancy system is quite efficient, but I also added a few lines to the scripts to make sure that the objects that are far from the character are physically disabled. And so, back in the game, it's really nice, it brings a lot of realism to see the boats moving like that in the waves, and when you push the objects in the water, they start to float. So we could of course add little splat and little noises to improve the scene's global realism. All these are things to come for sure, it's on my to-do list, but in any case, the physics is working. On the other hand, when the player goes in the water, he doesn't really swim. But we can see here another Poseidon's feature. When the camera is underwater, we have visual effects like this blue filter, distortion, everything we see on the ground, and we also have little drops on the screen when the camera exits the water. So it's a bit slow, but I can speed it up, and so all these effects come with Poseidon. Well, our pirate is missing the ability to swim, and now, ladies and gentlemen, this is the time for the great return of Invector with the swimming add-on. So this add-on simply adds a swimming script and swimming animations to the character controller, and once again we have plenty of settings to customize the way the character will swim, and so in a few clicks we have a swimming system. So we have a splash and then the character floats, he can swim, and of course the animation is a little bit strange, his back seems to be broken, that's probably something to review, but we can go underwater, we can swim in the seabed, and of course we can come back to the surface. The result isn't that bad, even if there are many things to improve. Sometimes we see little circles behind the character, but you don't see them all the time. And in fact, it's because the swimming system doesn't take into account the height of the waves. It's made for a flat ocean. You can see here that the character doesn't go up and down with the waves, and that's something I've already tried to add and I haven't succeeded, but with perseverance it should work. The idea is that the character should go up and down so that the swimming system looks more natural. And I also have to work on the particles, I don't like those little circles, they are too much detail, so I'll probably remove or replace them. And finally, when the character comes out of the water, he has little drops on his clothes. It's a little detail, but it adds a little bit of realism, so it's nice. Okay, so we have almost 10 minutes of devlogs, so we'll stop here. I think there is already quite a lot of content because we have a new ocean, we have a buoyancy system that works really well, and a swimming system that still needs to be improved, but it already brings a lot to the gameplay. It's really satisfying. We start to have a real pirate who can finally enjoy the ocean. In a future devlog, I hope soon, we are going to take a look in these famous boats, try to climb on them and try to make them sail. As always, if you have any feedbacks, positive or negative, please don't hesitate, it will always help me improving the game. Join the Discord if you haven't already, and please consider subscribing to this YouTube channel if you want to be alerted of next devlogs. Thanks for watching, see you next time. Cheers!